Hi, I want to talk with you about ancestor healing and intergenerational trauma. And I want to give you an example of what I just experienced the last few days. So there's many ways that this will come up and show up in our lives. Ancestor patterns and intergenerational trauma we want to address. Excuse me. So about 2 days ago, I got some symptoms that are like, could be COVID. I'm a lot better. I'm getting tested today. I feel good. Not worried. And yeah. And so these symptoms came up. And at the same time, I was going through my ancestor letters and particularly my Romanian Jewish ancestors. And I was rereading the letters from my grandmother to my uncles, her brothers, over in my great uncles over in Romania and in Europe. And then also other relatives to grandma and back and forth. And this was during the time of World War II, the Holocaust, before, during, and after. And you could feel so much love between these ancestors trying to uplift each other's spirits and give each other hope. And there were also pleas for help. There was a lot of work being done to try to get people visas out of the country. And ultimately, what happened was one of my uncles was murdered by the Nazis. And one of my uncles went to prison camp and then escaped. And then the Russians put him in prison camp. And then he escaped. And then he was living a good life for the rest of his life. As we know, trauma affects all of us. So how he handled the trauma, I really don't know. But what I do know, excuse me, is that I had taken on as a little girl this pain of my grandmother's. And as I was reading the letters, I felt so deeply the pain, how painful this was for all of them. And there was something else about how I had taken that on. And so yeah. And so currently, so now relationship of intergenerational trauma with current reality. Current reality in the Bay Area is the smoke, the fires are increasing, the drought, the great concern about not having the overall 1.5 Celsius or 1 point, whatever our Celsius world temperature is now, not going up, and getting worse for the earth and all living beings. And so what was going on with my relationship with my grandmother, where as a little girl I had taken on her imprint, was that was affecting, because I had merged with her pain. I hadn't differentiated. I hadn't realized, okay, that was her pain and I love her and I'm sad about this. And it's a different pain for me. It's not the same pain. And I hadn't gotten there yet. And that's intergenerational trauma. And then also, how can I say, for now, it was affecting my current perspective. And so I was, for many years, a co-founder and a very active member of the Afghan American Psychological Association. As a nurse, I had worked extensively with refugees from Afghanistan, and I had seen their suffering. And of course, it was reminiscent, I'm sure, of my ancestors and some of what they went through. And I got very involved trying to bring trauma services to them here and also in Afghanistan. And we were able to start some clinics, and we were able to teach women how to sew to make money, and we were able to do some things. And we also couldn't sustain those efforts over there because of the changes that were happening over the years over there. But so when not only the fires were happening, but also the painful situation in Afghanistan of, on the one hand, this very anti-feminine movement of the Taliban, against the feminine in themselves and in their people and in their women. And also at the same time, the majority of the country, the Pashtun people, getting back their country from America, who bombed it over one man and his following, who knows all of the relationships. But at any rate, this very complex, tragic situation. And so all of that together was causing me to merge. And then, of course, that was lowering my immunity. And then I got sick. And so I've been spending the last 2 days in retreat and meditating on all of this and receiving healing dreams and help. And then coming to peace and differentiating and realizing how much I love my ancestors and how precious they are in my life, and that I am not my grandmother and I don't need to carry her pain anymore as my pain. I can carry my own pain, not hers. And so I wanted to share all of that with you because it's such a clear example of why it's so important to clear at this time and heal our ancestral trauma and how it affects us in the present, as well as, of course, in the future and in the past. And also how it opens us up to feel more lighthearted in our relationships and blessings from our ancestors. With love, see you later. And I'd love any feedback.